My name is Benton Stokes. I'm a former fundamentalist, post-evangelical worship leader, and songwriter. I enjoy wry Manhattans, roller coasters, and road trips, just not all at the same time.
I'm Elane O'Rourke, and I'm a teacher, an author, and a spiritual coach. I was a philosophy professor and a liberal pastor in a couple of former lives, and these days, I love aha moments and not-so-dry martinis.
We have conversations about life and God with a queer perspective, over cocktails, like you. This is Cocktail Theology. Today's cocktail is cognac-based. However, it has a lot of interesting goodies in it.
So I was just thinking as I was looking at it that when the weather turns gray, I appreciate brown cocktails.
I do too.
And I don't know why. Because it's no longer autumnal. It's something else, but I do appreciate it. Okay.
Give it a sip.
Okay. There's chocolate or cacao in there somehow. Really?
No.
And I also taste something that could be maple.
Maple is in there.
Okay, so that may be what I'm getting. The cacao I'm getting is maybe maple. Something, like I've got the cognac, but there's something else. Almost herbaceous, but not quite, I guess. What are we drinking? What are we drinking? I'll just stop doing this.
Okay. This is the Inglenook. It is cognac.
Okay.
Amontillado sherry.
That's what I'm tasting.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
It also has walnut liqueur. It has Averna,
Okay.
hence the herbaceous, and some maple syrup.
Okay. So the walnut with the maple syrup is how I'm getting chocolate.
Yeah.
And the Averna is where that bitter is coming from. And then, of course, there's more nut in the Amontillado.
Yeah.
I love that you found a good way to use the Amontillado.
Yeah, I was thrilled to find the recipe.
That's really interesting.
It's tasty for a chilly day.
It is absolutely tasty for a chilly day. Now, knowing what our topic is, I am tempted to say, did you write it down somewhere or was it already written?
Well, this one was already written.
Okay. Was your life?
Well, that would be the bigger question. Yeah, today we're discussing, is your life story already written? When I was growing up, there was a lot of emphasis put on God's will for one's life, especially for me as a youth. I was taught that God already had an idea what we were going to be, who we were going to be, what we were going to do, and it was our job to find that path and figure that out.
So the road's there, and the road leads one place, but there are lots of places where you might choose to depart from the road you're supposed to be on. Is that kind of it?
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay.
That's kind of it. And I guess as long as you were living to the best of your ability, seeking after God, then the chances of you remaining on that path were better.
Okay.
But that there was a call. The word call was used a lot.
Okay.
And that there was a call on everyone's life. And for a season, I thought that the call that was on my life was to be a pastor.
Right.
So I started down that road. And even though it wasn't something that I necessarily wanted to do, like it didn't line up necessarily with my passions, my interests, I still pursued that because I thought that's what God wanted me to do. And it really wasn't until I was into college that I started to understand that that actually wasn't the thing that I was going to be able to do for God in a way that was wholehearted and that allowed my best gifts, really. I came to understand that I could be a minister of the gospel, so to speak, through my songwriting, through my worship leading, in other ways.
I want to come back to something you just said in just a minute. But I have heard that idea also framed in terms of everything we are or will be is already written in God's book.
Yeah.
Or in God's master plan.
Right.
Now, I admit that when I hear God's master plan, I think of God as an urban designer rather than the Almighty, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's the other way I've heard that talked about.
Yeah.
Like the call on your life or that your identity, your purpose, the way your life is supposed to go is literally written down somewhere in the cosmic sphere of things. Are those the same ideas?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I was thinking the same way that you were thinking.
Yeah.
Because for me, written material is always clearer than roads. So, Okay. So you said something really interesting. Staying in that paradigm for a minute, that there is a road that has been paved for you. Mm-hmm. And if you stay in touch with God, you will more or less stay on that road. That's roughly what I heard.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
Not that you couldn't mess it up, but that's what I heard. So then you said that there was a season where you thought you had a call to be a pastor, and realized that wasn't where your gifts and skills would be best used.
Yeah.
Okay. If one lives by that, there's already a road idea. Mm-hmm. Where does discernment come into that? My question would be in that way of thinking,
right?
Not for you personally, but in that way of thinking. If you discern that you have a calling to the pastorate, and you later discern that your gifts and skills are not going to fit that as well as they might fit something else, is the idea in that way of thinking that your initial discernment was incorrect, or that God wanted you to get on that path in order to achieve yet a further thing, or that you are allowed to say to the path, no, if there's a path, God got it wrong. Right? I'm just wondering, kind of in that way of thinking, how does that work?
What I determined was that I was looking at the path too narrowly, that God was calling me into ministry, and because I was a 16-year-old boy, I assumed that meant that I was going to be a pastor.
Okay.
But once I got into college, and it became clear that my passions and my giftings really were more in music and worship.
Right.
I think I just determined that, God must have meant that my way of doing ministry was going to be this and not the thing that I thought. And so it was more like I was defining that path just too narrowly.
Okay. So your initial discernment of God's call was inaccurate.
Right.
So the calling or the road would still potentially be there. Mm-hmm. You just were not traveling on it the way that God had wanted you to.
Yeah. And I don't think I thought of my choice to begin that way of study. I don't think I thought of it as a mistake. Like I thought that it was probably part of the whole unfolding of this plan.
Right.
But it just wasn't my end game anymore.
Right. When I hear that, the language of my end game is about you. Mm-hmm. The language of the correct road is about God.
Yeah.
Which I think points to the problem of this
Doesn't
way
it, though?
of thinking about it. Because
yes, it does.
Because I have also heard people using similar language to that, where if other people had said to you out of the blue, I believe you have a call to be a pastor. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, 1 time, 3 times, whatever the magic number is. You know, the pastor with whom we used to work, 3 was his thing. Mm-hmm. If 3 different people had discerned separately, thoughtfully, that you should be a pastor, that changes the kind of discernment you should be doing on that road. Right? So, I'm sorry. My problem with all of this is that human beings are notoriously wrong about everything.
It's true.
Our powers of discernment can be honed, can be made much, much better. But as a general rule, we're not great at knowing what God wants.
No, we're not.
So totally accept the idea that the closer you are to God, the more mature you are, both as a human being and in your faith, the more likely you are to actually glean something God-given about your actions.
Yeah.
All right, I'm fine with all that. I have a real problem with the idea that there's a preset road
Yeah.
or that it's written in God's book for a number of reasons. One of which I think, and this really isn't a theological thing, I think that some people use that idea of your preset road or your what's already written in God's book to either justify the things they already want you to do
Oh, yeah.
or the things that they already want to do. I feel a strong calling to be an Instagram influencer. God wants me for the love and glory of Jesus to be an Instagram influencer about the latest Gucci arrivals, right? I mean,
Right. Right.
I mean, we have ways of doing this
Yeah,
stuff.
of course.
So there's that problem.
Yeah.
But then I don't like thinking that God gave us free will for the sheer purpose of testing us.
Exactly.
Because if it's already written out, or if there's already a road, and your job is to figure out that puzzle and to put the pieces together properly,
Yeah.
why?
Right.
Why would God set you up to fail?
Right.
As is probably clear in my complete befuddlement over this idea, I don't think that's accurate at all.
Yeah. I don't think it is either.
And there are aspects of us that seem predetermined and aspects that don't.
Sure.
And I'm not comfortable saying which are which. But there's definitely something of that. So genetics,
Right.
for example,
Right.
have at least some influence on some things.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before. Genetics can make you more prone to some diseases, more resistant to other things, those kinds of things. Genetics also affects brain chemistry, lots of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to go with that. The social set into which you are born and reared does not fully determine, but certainly sets you on a narrower road than any road could be.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Like, it doesn't necessarily mean good, bad, or indifferent,
Right.
but the way you come up frames the choices you understand to be choices,
Yeah.
as well as whether you actually have certain choices.
Right.
I will never be an NBA player, right? Just can't, it's not going to happen. My genetics, everything about nothing, right?
Yeah.
So that is there. Okay. All right. So I'm willing to go with the idea that our genetics determine some things and our social upbringing, race, gender, all those things determine other things. Not in a it's already all written down kind of way, but in our choices and our ways of seeing the world are strongly framed by those things.
Yes. Right. I would say that too.
And other people respond to us in that way.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'm with you on all of that stuff. So then, what do we do about the language of call or purpose or meaning or any of those things? I was actually having this conversation with somebody the other day about what was this person's purpose. And the person didn't think that the purpose was a thing that had been predetermined and that they should have been living out all this time. It wasn't like that. There might be different purposes at different points in your life, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But trying to figure out what their purpose is at this point. And that language of purpose suggests an external guide of some kind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this glass determined its purpose.
Right.
Right? We determined its purpose.
We did.
And if I wanted to, okay, I'm doing Aristotle here, everybody. You're gonna love this. If I turned it upside down and set something on it, its purpose would be different.
It would.
Okay. So what if that language purpose for us? I have an idea about it, But well, what do you make of that language, given everything that I just spewed about?
Well, I don't think that God has a singular purpose for each of us.
Okay. Individualized.
Individualized, right?
Okay. Okay.
I think purpose is something that we can discover or determine
Okay.
based on our choices and the things that you just talked about, sort of where we started and what we started with. But I don't think that purpose is necessarily a static thing, because I know when I look at my life, it's been a meandery road. There have been times on that road where I was sure my purpose was this or my purpose was that or whatever. And the truth is, in those moments, it kind of was. Like, my purpose in 2009 was to learn how to be a good dad to my kids as a divorced gay man. What does that mean and what does that look like? And so I took as my purpose, you're going to learn how to do that. You're going to learn how to do that well, because your kids are counting on you to do that. And it's going to make you a better person, a saner person. And it's probably in the process going to pull you closer to God too, because you're going to start to understand things about yourself and what's important in raising your kids.
Would you call that purpose or goal?
It was more than a goal.
Okay. Okay.
I think it was the most important thing to me during that season.
Okay.
Now, I don't know
Okay.
if other people would say that was my purpose.
Well, I'm asking you.
But
I'm asking other people. Those three people, we don't care what they say.
No, we don't care what they say. But from my point of view, during that time, I would have said, this is my purpose.
Okay. So this is something that you felt specifically, directly impelled or propelled to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we are calling that impulse, that movement, that determination, purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right, I can go with that.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's something about purpose that doesn't come from God, but may be inspired by God or shaped with God's help.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, it's interesting because I can imagine a different person than you deciding their purpose was quite different at that juncture.
Yeah.
Plenty of people, when they get divorced for whatever reason, decide that their purpose is to go discover themselves.
Right.
That's the reason they've been set free from this institution, right? There's something about your awareness of there being a most important, deeper, higher thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it a calling because I'm trying to be careful.
Yeah.
That then is framed as your purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think this may be helpful.
Okay.
So then the language of purpose is really more about higher, better, good for others, good for me. Like, there's something about the idea that my purpose is to go explore my sexuality, for example, that when it's framed in that language, isn't purpose.
Doesn't sound like purpose to me.
Because
either.
it's not higher,
No.
it's not greater, it's not, okay. So there's something about purpose that is elevated.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely yes.
And that may be why people attribute it to the one really elevated one.
Right.
Because when we feel that, when we really understand that, it feels bigger.
Yes.
When we have that experience while we are doing something, it feels bigger.
Yes.
Now, it may also be bigger, right? But there's something elevated, something meaningful, something other facing, or at least other influencing, that has to do with purpose.
Yes, I would say that's absolutely true.
Okay. This is helpful because I think that the way to think about it for me is that who I am and what my purpose in a particular season is influenced, not determined, by my genetics, my social upbringing, my education, my all those things, my gender, my sexuality, all those things, and by God's constant desire for me to be the best me I can be.
Yes.
The best to the world, best in the world, most loving, most whatever I can be, to have the most beneficial influence on others that I can have. I believe that God wants that for all of us, for every single one of us.
Absolutely.
God's
Yes.
general purpose
Yes.
for humankind.
Yes.
But then the thing that is my purpose, if you will, is a something else. And here's what I think it is. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
I thought you
hope
were.
I'm ready.
I thought you were. I thought you were. You might want to set your glass down. No. So I believe it was Howard Thurman. And listeners, if it wasn't, and you know who this was, please, please, please send a note. That's info@schoolforseekers.com, or go on to cocktailtheology.com and send us a note. I believe it was Howard Thurman who said that your purpose, your calling, is where your passion and the needs of the world meet.
I've heard that before.
Okay? And I appreciate that. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a little wrong. And here's why. I think our passions are very flighty.
Yeah.
I think it's more about where our patience is.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
What I have patience to do that benefits others, something about that contains purposefulness, if you will, for me. So it might be that I have a huge passion for homeless folks, but I have zero patience.
Yeah. Right.
Or that I have a huge passion, but then I get distracted by something else.
Uh-huh.
But I still have patience for my teenager, or I have patience for old people, or I have whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
There's something about patience, persistence and patience that affects or influences or shapes or draws us to a particular calling. And big story.
I like that. Yeah.
So let's go back to your story, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 16-year-old thought you should be a pastor because, of course, you were male and in the church, so of course you should be a pastor.
Yeah.
But then discovered that wasn't exactly right.
Yeah.
If you were to think about now what patiences you had that you didn't have for the pastorate, what would they be? I can think of some, but I may be wrong.
Well, I had plenty of patience for practicing piano
Okay.
because I would come home from school as a middle schooler and spend hours at the piano.
Okay.
I had tons of patience for songwriting because I was beginning to do that. And I loved words. I loved music. I could spend hours and hours doing that.
Testify.
I did not, yes. I did not have a lot of patience for being in textbooks. I read the Bible, but I didn't have a lot of patience for studying the Bible the way that pre-seminary students do in college. Pursuing the role of a pastor felt very uncreative as compared to being a musician. And I liked being creative. I liked how it felt to be creative. And I liked how it felt to serve God in the role of my creativity. So if I was leading worship or sharing one of my songs or singing in a men's choir, which I did, other things that I did in college, that brought me joy.
Ah.
Those things brought me joy.
Okay. This is perfect. Good. You are falling into my trap. So listen to the wonderful things of this. You had patience for piano, patience for songwriting, patience for reading the Bible, but not for exegesis and that kind of study. So you had patience for all those things. And you experienced them as being creative outlets for you. You did not see in the pastorate a similar creative outlet.
Right.
Okay. I don't want to, pastors are infinitely creative, just not in your way.
Not
right?
in that way.
Right. So there was something about the generativity, the creativity that rewarded your patience and that excited you.
Yes.
And that when you were doing those things, you experienced joy.
Yes.
That is one of the places that we find our purpose.
Yeah.
And that's one of the places we discover identity. Is patience, joy, not exuberance necessarily, but joy, that sense of, yes, right? So there's something about that can help us really discern our identity and our purpose. But none of those things is written word for word in God's book.
No,
If God has a book.
exactly.
I would think God would be, in the cloud. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I know. Sorry, that was really, really bad. Does all that make sense?
It makes a ton of sense.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
go with that for now.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Do you have more to say about this?
I think that's a really effective way to think about purpose. And when I think about like my purpose now, and it would be hard for me to really put that in a sentence, but I think a lot of it is sharing joy and hope and light with other people. That feels like something that I'm supposed to be doing right now in all the best ways. And it gives me joy to do those things.
And you have patience for it.
Most of the time I have patience for it.
Most of the time is enough. And you do it well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Listeners, we love hearing from you. Cocktailtheology.com is where we are. What do you think about purpose? What do you think about God's will or callings? We love hearing from you. We love hearing your thoughts. You can disagree with us if you want to. That's fine too. Cocktailtheology.com is where we are. And we also love getting suggestions from you for things to talk about. We're already planning episodes for next season because this one's winding down quickly. But we love hearing your ideas, so please do share them.
Your burning questions, your deep concerns, your joys, your passions.
Yes, all of that.
All of that.
All of that. All right, till next time, friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Funny how the view can change, how life just seems to rearrange itself, no matter what it was. I don't know how it goes, but look, moving on feels pretty good. Moving on feels pretty good.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and hit subscribe wherever you're listening right now. We welcome your comments, questions, and ideas for conversations and for cocktails. Please get in touch with us at our website, cocktailtheology.com. Cocktail Theology is a production of SFS. Our theme song is Moving On Feels Pretty Good, recorded by yours truly, Benton Stokes. You can find my music wherever you stream your favorite artists. Join us next Thursday for another new episode.